Welcome to the Moving Company Owners Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of moving companies and the people who make them run. From industry leaders to successful moving company owners, we explore their stories, strategies, and insights to help you grow your business and take it to the next level. Whether you're just starting out or a seasoned veteran, this is the podcast for you. So sit back, relax, and get ready to move your business forward with your host, Jason Bergenske.
Hey guys, Jason Bergenske here with the Moving Company Owners Podcast. And today we have the owner of Ajax Moving Services in Texas, Jessica, on the show. And she's pretty much going to talk to us a lot about how they've gotten into the moving industry within the last year and their success that they've built so far and building this company and where they've gotten and some of the things that they've learned along the way. So I just wanted to welcome you, Jessica. First, if you just want to tell us a little bit about your moving company, where you guys are located at, how long you've been in business, and a couple things like that.
Oh, yeah. So essentially, we got started in June of 2022. So we've been in business for less than a year in Fort Worth, Texas here. And essentially how we got started was, my husband had moved from DC out here to be with me. And he had been working as a mover to earn money for the house and whatnot, because I had also just been recently laid off before he moved out here. Essentially one of the guys that he was working for said, like, hey, I'm selling this box truck and you seem to have a really good head on your shoulders. Like, do you want to buy this box truck from me and hang out your own shingle? And so he came home and he talked about it. And he's like, I don't know if we want to do that. And I'm like, no, you have the skill set to be in person. I have the skill set to build a website, and I have the business degree. I can do the accounting. I can do all that. Like, let's give it a shot. Let's do it, especially for, getting a truck for such a good price. Let's go. So, yep. And there we go.
Which is neat. And I think we'll talk a little bit about that truck and just a little bit. So a couple of the neat things I looked up about you guys, obviously you're in Texas there. And one of the neat things that I noticed is all of you guys 5-star reviews. I've owned a moving company in the past. I work with hundreds and hundreds of moving companies throughout the country. And that's usually one of the hardest things for all of us moving company owners to have. Not that we don't do a good job, because obviously every moving company, for the most part, I believe, tries to provide a quality service and take care of customers. But as they grow and as they get reviews, a lot of times it gets harder and harder to get 5-star reviews. And that was one of the things we had talked about previously. And I just curious, a couple things. One, about your 5-star reviews and why you think you guys have been successful in getting only 5-star reviews. Obviously, we've only been open a year so far, but literally every single review, and there's tons, are all 5 stars. So.
Yeah. Well, basically, one of the things that we really try and pride ourselves on is customer service. It's one of those things. I'm the person who's answering the phone, booking the calls. So I always try to be very, very clear on the phone, like, hey, just like, my husband's going to be there. He's going to take care of you. Don't worry about that. And, if they're from their inventory list, I basically, hey, this might not all fit in our truck. We might have to take a second trip, just so you know. And I just try to be very clear up front with, okay, these are all the things that might happen. And then my husband is, very detail oriented on, hey, here's how we're going to make sure that we take care of you whenever they are actually on there. And then on top of that, so I think the personal connection with the customer really, really helps and whatnot. And then for the few crews that we send out, usually labor only without my husband there, we give them a little card with a QR code and give essentially for our crew, we'll tell them like, hey, if you can convince them to give a 5-star review, we'll give you a bonus. So they can actually go and say, hey, if you want to really help us out, we get a bonus if we get a 5-star review on Google. Can you do that? And they're usually like, oh yeah, I want to help you out more. Cause again, that personal connection rapport is already built. So.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And that's, the biggest thing, this day and age is reviews. People look at reviews. And I think it's very important. And I think it's awesome that you've gotten your employees to be able to buy into that, into that aspect of helping you guys get reviews, because obviously it helps benefit them. And and it's neat too, because, there may be situations where you have customers that are unable to give a tip because they may not be able to afford a tip. but that's a way for them to almost give a tip to those employees for you just by writing a simple review, because obviously those movers get a bonus. So I think that's awesome. And that's a great way of growing your business and building it. So I think that's neat. So just to kind of get back to the truck. So it's an interesting story because obviously this kind of got, I assume you guys were not in the market for looking for a moving company to open. So this infamous truck here comes along that someone wants to sell you for $4,000, which is very inexpensive for a truck, for a moving truck, especially, right, that you can make money with. Which, come to find out, this truck, while it did help you guys get your company started, it obviously caused some headaches also. And I think that all moving company owners can relate to having moving trucks that break down or have issues, or guys damage and stuff like that. So tell a little bit about that. The truck that started it all. Yeah.
Well, the beautiful truck is that we bought was a 1993 GMC Top Kick. So we bought it, and it was running really well for the first 2 weeks. And then it just started like leaking oil over the place. We couldn't figure out what was going on. And then turns out the actual engine was actually really good, but this one bolt fell into a piston, and it completely then destroyed the entire engine. We had to do a full engine rebuild on it. So basically, right at the end of June, right when we first started, had no budget because we had, spent every dime we had, and then some on this $4,000 box truck. We then had to go and spend another $6,000 on a rebuilt engine to put in, and on top of that, it was out of commission for 3 months. So we were just, for the entire first moving season that we had, where we could have stocked up a lot for the slow season, that was all gone just in renting U-Hauls and other trucks and repairs.
Yeah. So yeah. I've been there. I've had trucks back when we owned our moving company. I had trucks that were diesel trucks, and our guys would put gasoline in them, which is significant damage. We've had trucks where they were overheating, but the guy thought he could make it to the next exit before he pulled over, and of course you don't make it. And we've had trucks that we've spent more money on than we should have to repair them, and they still weren't fixed. So I can feel your pain there. But the good thing about that truck is it got you started in the business.
It did.
And
yeah.
You still have that truck now. That's the truck that you guys are running.
Yeah, it's the truck we have now. It's out. It's running. It's we couldn't afford to wrap it, so it's actually just painted by us. And it works. It doesn't. I mean, it looks a little sketchy, but so that's why I just always insist on my husband and guys okay, y'all at least have to wear Ajax Moving shirts and look professional if the truck's not going to. So. Yeah.
Well, that's the next thing to come, right? So you've only been in business for 10 months, 8 months,
10, yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And I think you guys are doing phenomenal already for the amount of time you've been in business, and having the reviews you guys have, and having a website, and so many people try and start a moving company, but they don't they don't get as far as you've already gotten. So and just know you came into the moving industry at a rough time. And if you can get through this, you'll get through all of it. And that's what, for me, we went through the 2008 housing crash. And as we sat there and watched over half of all of our competitors in our local area go out of business, this is actually a good time for you to start, because if you can survive through this, you'll get through all of it. But that's neat. So, tell me a little bit as far as, how you've gone about getting business. Like, how are you guys either advertising or marketing, or are you going out knocking on doors, or is it mostly word of mouth? Like, kind of, what do you guys think that you attribute to most of your business that's coming in?
Attention, moving company owners. Are you tired of managing your business with spreadsheets and pen and paper methods? Do you want to streamline your operations, increase your bookings, and look more professional to your customers? Then it's time to switch to MOVEITPRO software. Our cloud-based platform provides everything you need to manage your moving company in one place, from booking and dispatching to payment processing and customer communication. Plus, with features like GPS tracking, real-time notifications, and detailed reporting, you'll be able to optimize your operations and take your business to the next level. So what are you waiting for? Visit www.moveitpro.com to schedule a free demo today and see how we can help you move your business forward.
Yeah, well, actually, when I first, before I came on here, I was actually doing my my advertising rate of return. So I actually have February's numbers.
Awesome.
Number one thing that's been working for us has been those Google reviews, and also getting on Google Guaranteed. Whenever we first started and we were still trying to, get reviews, get our name out there and whatnot, we did a lot of the paid leads and all that lovely stuff that I don't like doing, but it got us started. It got us business whenever we didn't have any reputation or anything. But yeah, that and direct mail has really helped us. What I do is I have a letter and I have that's typed out, and I hand sign every single letter that I send out and send to pending homes. And I also have I also have a picture of on the website. I have my dogs posted as like, oh, we're the branch managers of the house, of the business. Yep. And I like to incorporate them. And then at the bottom of the letter, I have a photo of my dogs sitting at my computer with a cup of coffee, and it looks like they're working. And I put on there, say, hey, here's a little offer for like, hey, here's, $50 off your move. Use the manager special because moving is rough, RUFF. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's neat. And that's, it's interesting too. I think we talked about earlier, but my grandparents started the moving company we owned, which was J&J Metro Moving and Storage in Orlando back in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And I kind of grew up in that business, and all of our advertising when I was a kid was a picture of my dad and my two sisters and myself. And I was probably 6 or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And we used that picture probably until I was 25 or 30. And it just helps connect with people. People really like the family aspect. They really like seeing that they're real people, and that you're going to care about them. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I think that's a big advantage that all of us independent moving companies have over the big named companies like Two Men and College Hunks and things like that. Because, at the end of the day, those companies, in my opinion, they're not as family oriented in the sense that they're changing a family's life if you use them. For you guys, every customer you do, every customer that you move, the money that comes in is taking care of your specific family, helping your kids go through school, stuff like that. So I think that's really neat. How are you guys going about hiring and stuff like that, as far as getting extra helpers and stuff? It's a big thing that all moving company owners since COVID, I think, have struggled with, is getting good quality candidates to go out on the truck and help.
Yeah. Honestly, what's been working is, whenever my husband was working as a mover for other companies before we started this one, he made a lot of connections with people. Mm-hmm. He made a lot of connections with other movers that he was working with. And he goes like, okay, I know that you, like, I've actually worked moves with you. So I know you're not gonna be stupid on location or anything like that. So I trust you. So that's been our number one thing so far. And then people that those guys refer if we need someone outside of that. That's kind of been the biggest thing. And now we have a kind of a set group of like 5 or 6 guys that are our go-tos that do really well. So
that's awesome. And then what are a couple, 1 or 2 big mistakes you feel like you've either made starting the business or since the business has been open that either you would change or not change? We all have mistakes we've done, and sometimes those mistakes we're happy we did them because they taught us something. Other times there are mistakes we made and we say, man, I wish I didn't do that. But it doesn't matter. But in your scenario, what are a couple things?
I think a couple of the big mistakes I've made have been, I guess, not knowing, not paying attention to the rate of return on different advertising revenue streams is one of those things where we've been spending a lot of money on something that we thought was bringing us in a lot of money. And then I actually hold on, let me pull the numbers into a Google sheet and actually run the numbers. We're only making 30% on it, 30% over what we spent on this. No, definitely not worth it, and things like that. And then the other thing would be, mistakes would be, I guess, accepting, booking customers that I could tell on the phone were crazy. Because it's like, okay, if they're crazy and mean to me on the phone, then they're 10 times as worse on location whenever my husband and the other movers are there. And it's like, oh, okay, well, that's money we don't want. We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There is definitely a lot of times in the moving industry where it's sometimes better not to do a move. We've all had those customers that tell us that there's hardly anything in the house, and we get there and it's 10 times as much. We've had the ones that conveniently forget to tell us that the truck has to park a half mile away, even though we've asked them how far away, right? So that's very interesting, also.
Yeah.
So neat. So tell me, as far as your guys' company and where you're at now, like what's next for your guys' company? How do you feel you guys are going to continue going on? Obviously, the housing market's down some. Obviously, it will return. I mean, it always has and always will. Where do you guys, see yourselves in the next year, next 2 years? What's kind of the plans for Ajax Moving?
Well, we hope to be able to, buy another truck soon and become a 2-truck company, hopefully. Also, what we've been doing is, I guess, just refine our marketing a little bit more. We've kind of discovered that because we're in South Fort Worth, there are some areas that actually aren't too far from us, but are technically outside of the normal Metroplex area that they have money and they're easily accessed from our location and whatnot, that we can really sort of target and like, okay, let's become, all right, we're not going to become the number one in Fort Worth in the next year. We have like several two-minute truck, all my sons, a lot of really big guys in the game that we just can't outspend for advertising revenue and whatnot. But just like a county south of us in like Somerville County or Hood County, like there's Glen Rose, there's Granbury, there's a ton of homes being built out there. A lot of people are moving out there and fleeing out there. Like we'll go and do that, and we'll actually go out there and do those moves that a lot of other companies won't. So
yeah, so that's awesome. And what's kind of one of your guys' specialties as far as moving? Do you guys do pianos? Do you do safes and stuff like that? Or kind of tell me a little bit as far as your guys' moving company. What's your specialty, you think?
Yeah, we do pianos, we do gun safes. I think what we really one of the things that we specialize in is being able to move gun safes. One of our main mover that works with my husband every day used to work for specifically a gun safe company where he did nothing but deliver gun safes all day. So he's a pro at it. Yeah. And so between that and my husband, who's 6'3", used to be I think he used to be a defensive tackle in high school and whatnot. But like they're both strong people. They the two of them will take an 800-pound gun safe up a flight of stairs and whatnot, and no problem.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you a couple, I call them the quick fire questions. So they're just some questions and just kind of off the top of your head, answers to them. So what's the best piece of business advice you have ever received?
I got it from both my father and my grandfather, who both run businesses. Basically, it's know your numbers, know how much money is coming in every month and how much money is going out and what they're going to. Like sit down and go over that monthly, because if you don't know where your money is going, you can easily think you're pulling in a bunch of money, but actually you're losing money every month.
Yeah, and that's actually a very good statement. There's a lot of people that all they look at is their gross revenue coming in. They're not looking at their expenses, and you can sometimes make more money with less gross revenue than you can if you're not watching it. So, what's the one attribute or characteristic of a successful founder?
I think, probably the ability to pivot easily. You got to be flexible. You gotta be able to, like, okay, we had this weird setback. Let's don't completely give up, move on to something else. Like, let's figure it out, pivot, figure out a way to make it work.
That's awesome. What's your favorite personal productivity tool or habit?
My favorite one is probably, it's this app called Artful Agenda. It basically takes I used to use a Da Vinci planner, and I liked the way you could like prioritize everything and whatnot. And this is basically like it's a Da Vinci planner, but it's on a page or on your phone, and it helps me keep track and organized. Yeah.
Very neat. What's a new crazy business idea you'd love to pursue if you had time?
I mean, my husband and I want to start a farm, but we live on 1/10 of an acre, so as of right now, we can't do that. So.
Which actually brings up a very funny fact that you brought up earlier, is that you have chickens, and that they're in the house.
They are, yeah. Well, I mean, they're baby chicks. I just got them. A few days ago, so they're in a cardboard box brooder in my office right now, which is why I'm out here in the living room. Because awesome. I have 10 chickens and 2 ducks in there right now.
The ducks and the chickens get along okay?
Oh yeah, they do. They're all fine.
It's awesome. What's an interesting or fun fact about you most people don't know?
Probably that I actually used to work in LA in the film industry for about 10 years before I came out here. So that's awesome. Yeah, I worked for Larry King, worked for Tastemade, worked for BuzzFeed. Yeah, worked for some big people out there.
That definitely probably helps you in your moving company as far as for your own marketing and advertising and stuff like that. That's awesome.
Absolutely does. Yeah.
Awesome. What's one of your most important passions outside of work?
Yeah, I like gaming. I like playing Dungeons and Dragons games. So
very cool.
I do that. And yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just want to thank you very much for being on our podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for taking the time and doing it and answering questions. And, we wish you guys everything but success, and just keep chugging along. The economy definitely will get better. I promise you.
Thank you.
And it's actually awesome that you guys started in this economy, because it's going to help you. Because if you can make money right now and you can get through it right now, which is, January, February, March, those are usually the slowest months in a moving company. Mm-hmm. Especially if you can get through this, and especially in a downturned economy where the houses aren't selling as well. You're going to be able to really thrive when things start coming back and interest rates come down and houses sell a little quicker. So
awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much for being on it.